Yo, so what's up, guys? Today is Friday. I just want to talk about a few things. Why eBay to Amazon and marketplace to marketplace is going to be a game changer in 2020. There's a few reasons. First off, the simple fact is, let me see if I can switch this display. Yeah, there we go. Cool. The simple fact is that if you look at the arbitrage nowadays, it's not. It's going to be marketplace to marketplace. This is because you can see the dying marketplaces and you can see the rising marketplaces. Also, the cost of entry and the quick turnaround in terms of product. If you look at like tactical arbitrage right now, you're looking at they're going at a stagnant base, right? Or like kind of more like it's RA, right? Or OA, not marketplace to marketplace. So everybody's getting the same products that are all out there, limited quantity, and there's not really much turnaround and diversity in the catalog, in that catalog base. Since there's not a lot of catalog base, it's hard to really diversify and make a good amount of money. Also, the margins are not going to be there. They're not going to be there. Because think about it, a company doesn't want to lose their ass, and what they bought it for is usually going to be higher than their liquidation price. So they're trying to recoup some money back or break even, relatively the secondary market. So that's the first market, right? So if you look at the chain of markets, this is really good to understand because then you can kind of understand the whole process, right? The first market, the retail market, right? So this is like your Walmarts, your Targets, your basic retailers, Ace. Like there's a bunch of retailers out there. Whatever it is, they get products from wholesalers, distributors, or from the manufacturer. They've been listed at first price. It's called the first market, right? The secondary market is what we trade on normally, right? So if you are a garage saler, a flipper, a liquidator, that's a secondary market, and the prices on the secondary market have dropped dramatically. This is for a few reasons. It's called the 4Ds. Death, disaster, divorce, and downsize. Those 4Ds can be attributed across the board. Those are just the consumer-based 4Ds. That's why you have estate sales, downsize sales. People get a lot of stuff from divorces and disaster. But let's put those in the context of businesses, right? So a death, right? So a complete bankruptcy. That's why a lot of things go out bankrupt. The prices get slashed and it goes out the door. Sears is a big one. A lot of people made a lot of money on Sears, and you're going to see the apocalypse of the storefronts coming up. Also, a lot of e-commerce apocalypse as well. You can see it now, especially when the economy collapses. There's a lot of e-commerce that is going to be gone because the tension's not there. So death, right? And I'll talk about why the tension's not there in a second. Death, divorce. It could be two companies splitting up and the assets get split. Also, in terms of, let's go eBay, for example, right? Divorce, right? So eBay controlled PayPal, and now they're divorced, especially if they're trying to move it to separate. So you can kind of hemorrhage that middle ground, right? Especially in PayPal transactions. You could have... you could have you can get their people's emails off the PayPal transaction relatively easy. We don't do that. We don't do that. No, we don't. We would not do that ever. But you can do that relatively easy. And there's some other ways that you can take that advantage and kind of manipulate that market. So death, divorce, disaster. That's like if something major happens, something that completely swipes everything off. You're looking at a recession. There's gonna be a big one for the disaster terms. That's when a lot of prices decrease. Death, divorce, disaster, and downsize, right? So if companies going from big to small and kind of collapsing that area of what they're trying, like they're not trying to expand anymore, they're trying to downsize, they're trying to cut staff. I'll talk about this in a second, but that's another reason why prices are lower. So we talk about eBay, right? This is why we're going deep into the eBay and Amazon arbitrage. Also, marketplace and marketplace. We're going deep in this right now. We're building software. We're building a whole complete company off this. You can see our massive ramp up growth with stupid margins. Look at eBay. They're downsizing, right? They're cutting staff. They're in the death phase, downsize cycle. They're in the death cycle, the death spiral. Prices are dropping. Look, they just dropped their last CEO. Like things are not working out for that player, right? If you look at eBay, what is eBay's leverage points? So what are they good at, right? I think it's two things: low price and their sellers. They have a lot of sellers. Oh, and ease the market, I guess you can say too, because Amazon has sellers, but ease the market. The how easy it is to find products, search them. It's very, very basic. You can see any product, you just go sold, like we all do. You can kind of see that shit, right? So if that is correct, that the assumption is correct that downside cycle, eBay's in the downside cycle. They have almost all 4 Ds except for the disaster. Once the economy collapses, they're gonna have the disaster too. They're just gonna spike down. You can see this in multiple ways. They're trying to they're hemorrhaging cash because they're giving 10% eBay bucks back. That's their whole margin. That doesn't make any sense, right? It means that margin that they're running on is just getting slashed, right? So we can take advantage of that relatively easy. They're in this death cycle again. Prices are cheaper than anywhere else, right? Because we're kind of leveraging that. The if you look at the markets, especially you look at the markets in general. Amazon's their prices are higher because you're arbitraging that FBA, right? That 1 day, 2 day shipping. It's gonna be fucking that day shipping. Like it's gonna increase and increase and increase and increase. This is very, very important. You're leveraging that. Well, eBay does not have that, so they're not here. So the product costs what's on eBay. They sell slower. They're selling slower. That means there's less demand and there's more supply because the demand goes down because there's not much attention on that product, or there's not enough attention on all these things in general, right? So demand goes down, supply goes up because it's the ease of market, right? Since the ease of market's there, it is easy to say the supply is high while the demand is low, thus the prices decrease across the board, right? This is where you come in with the mark to market, right? Also, offer up with shipping. That's another good thing. They increase that. They put that shipping on there, so you had that leverage to have stuff up to you, so you don't have the time to go run out for offer up. That's one of the biggest problems with the offer up is you have to go find the products. Also, let go. Facebook marketplaces are all those you can leverage as well, relatively easy on the Amazon platform. One, Amazon's more exclusive. The exclusivity on Amazon is pretty high. It's a lot harder to get into it. There's barriers to entry. That you can't sell everything. Like there's a learning curve. There's all these things that keep a lot of sellers out on eBay and OfferUp and Let Go and Facebook Marketplace that they don't want to deal with. That's what we'll deal with, right? If you have a process in place, you can scale it really fast. That's another reason why we like marketplace and marketplace. The third one is a big one. There's constant supply. There's a constant rotating supply, right? There's a constant rotating supply. Thus, there's not going to be a bunch of sellers jumping on one thing. If we can control a market relatively easy, right? So we're buying out all these products in this marketplace. Let's call it, let's say there's a remote, right? There's a rare remote, like a TV remote or whatever it is, right? There's a rare remote. We can buy all of it out so we can keep the price high. We're taking up all the supply. We increase the fucking the cost on that, and we can make our margin. Right now we're running at a fucking 90% ROI, a 40% a profit margin, which is astronomical, especially in the Amazon space, especially at scale too. If we're doing $200, $300, $400, $500,000, right now we're about $100,000. We should do in October, if not more. We're increasing at 44% a month, and we're pushing a lot of cash into that, especially for Q4 season. But if you're at that $400,000, $500,000 range at 40% profit margin with a 90% ROI, like you're just turning money over so quickly that nothing can beat it, right? So if that continues to stay true, we'll be able to turn faster. Obviously, that's not the game plan. We're trying to get into more software because there's more of a scalability on that software side, and so because we want to build products and we want to get off other people's platforms. We'll still do Amazon to Amazon, eBay to Amazon arbitrage, or marketplace to marketplace arbitrage, but we want to build products instead of being a distributor, just because the selling aspect on the back end is more powerful when we want to sell the company in the future, if we do want to sell it, or there's ways to scale it out, which I have a couple ideas. We'll get those in a few years. But right now, this is the game plan, especially if everything drops relatively hard. We'll be there to pick up the pieces, and if we have a lot of cash and a lot of leverage, it becomes even stronger, right? So going back to the point of marketplace and marketplace, Amazon's the highest one, so we're taking all these secondary markets, the secondary marketplaces, not Amazon but the other ones, and just leveraging that with higher ROI. As long as we can really find that good ROI, is a big potential. You're gonna see in the next few phases, especially when we launch our software, we had to divert from a basic using the back end to really for a high growth scale. We had to use more of a manual thing because the API was too hard to get off. Let's just say that. So yeah. If you look at the marketplace, so if you look at so it's gonna go new is gonna be the first one that's gonna get dropped out or leveled out, right? New, and then use is gonna be the second one. After use, it's going to be certified refurbished. Those are the three phases that we're gonna go into, right? Just by the competition, you're gonna have to drop down if you want to keep the same high margins. I'm sure you can take less margins if you want, but margins are really what you're looking for. That's the game plan, honestly. If you see it, the Amazon used price is about 70% of the new price. While if you look on eBay, the used price is roughly around 30% of the new price. This is a massive market shift as well, especially with some weird stuff that we get into. You're gonna see some big things. I believe in the future, if Amazon wants to continue, they're going to have to do more of a used market. Sure, they're massive growth, but if they want to take up even more percentage, they're going to have to go into the used market even more, which is not really capitalizing on. Thus is going to bring in a lot more people, especially because if you look at the buy it nows are normally the new ones. They always take up the length. But what happens if there's a buy it now for new and used? You get the better option. You can see it right now. 90% of items get sold are in the buy it now box, right? About less than 10% on average is used, right? But still, there's a big margin. We sell some used stuff, but it's right now there's so much out there. We ran out of cash in terms of operating cash because we were buying so strong. So there's so much out there. We can really ramp up production once we have our software in. We'll be hitting that multi-hundred figure mark relatively soon. I think by early of 2020, even except that the market crashes, then we're going to have to kind of repivot and go from there. I have a kind of an idea what we want to do with that. But yeah. We're looking at some big stuff, especially right now. Especially if you want to make good money, marketplace is going to be the best. The margins are there; they're stupid margins. At $100,000, our net profit is $40,000 profit. That you can't get anywhere else. You can't do that OA. You can't do that RA. The margins are just not that good. So it's something that you can really jump into, and if you want, it's the flipping margins, it's the garage sale margins at scale, which are very, very helpful to really grow a company fast and strong, which we have done. We went from 0 to about $100,000. We did $90,000 plus this month, $90,000 plus in 4 months. So in a 4-month time span, we went from 0 to 90 grand. That's a big increase. And if we had some tools, that's why we're building them. We could go to the 200, 300, 400, 500 thousand mark relatively fast. That's the kicker that's slowing us down. We solved the first problem, which was cash, to really keep churning money, right? Because if we're growing at a 45 to 50% each month, it's taking up a lot of our cash because we have a 30 to 60 day turnaround just by when we buy the products to when it turns around. So think about it like this: if it takes us 60 days to sell a product from when we buy it to when we sell it and we get the cash out, we've been really only in 2 cycles so far. In 2 cycles, we have grown from 0 to $90,000 in 2 cycles. 2 of those cycles. That's massive. That is ridiculous, and we can continue that faster and faster and faster. Especially we're getting better and better at this stuff. We're discovering things that no one else has. We're really building up this platform to be really strong with things that we use. Right, we're building a platform that works for us, thus will help work for you guys. Right, that's the overarching goal. Is completely for ourselves. We're very very needy in this, but we're gonna release it for you guys as well. Because again, this is not our end plan. This is not our game plan. In the end, is to be flipping marketplace to marketplace, even though it's fantastic money. It is to build a software company, build tools for entrepreneurs, and really change the game. And this is how I can do it, because my background's in that Silicon Valley area. This is what we can do with it. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy these next few months, especially when we get some tools. When we get those tools ready and tools popping off, nothing is gonna stop us. Relative. Today we're gonna send about $30,000 in the last 2 days. We already shipped out on Tuesday. We're shipping out again, and we're gonna send out $30,000 we're doubling our money. We're doubling. The money's there. There's a few people that have already, a couple of my friends, shout out to Nick if you're watching this, and shout out to Joey if you're watching this. Good job, you guys. You guys have really turned the corner to really starting to ramp up that production. And again, this is such a new market that you guys found it relatively easy. Good job, Joey, on your first flip. Big time shit. Nick, good find with that massive buy. You did really well with that. Other than that, guys, catch you later. Peace.